When I was a little girl and I thought about who I was going to be when I grew up, it wasn't I was going to be strung out on heroin. That was not the plan, you know. I had just graduated from ASU. I was about 23 years old, and I had had a medical procedure and was prescribed prescription painkillers to manage the pain. I liked the way they made me feel. I then began going to doctors, making up ailments, shoulder pains, car accidents that never happened, you know, back problems that didn't exist, to get the doctor to prescribe the painkiller.
Colleen is not alone. Prescription medication abuse has reached epidemic levels. Deaths from legal prescription pain relievers are now greater than heroin and cocaine overdoses combined, and have also surpassed all motor vehicle deaths in the United States. Community Bridges has been on the front line of this epidemic from the beginning. They saw that more and more people with opiate addictions were entering their treatment programs.
Opiates used to appear in our programs as primarily heroin. Over the last 5 years or so, it's been heroin and or prescription opiate medication.
The opiates produce essentially the same physiologic and euphoric effect in the brain, regardless of whether it's morphine, heroin, oxycodone, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, fentanyl. I mean, they essentially work the same way.
Slowly but surely, they became the most important thing in my life. You know, it was more important than going to work. It was more important than eating. It was more important than the relationships I had with my friends and family. It was more important than paying my bills. It was more important than having a roof over my head.
To tackle this epidemic of prescription medication abuse, Community Bridges developed Unscript, a program designed for people who've unintentionally become addicted to a medication with a legitimate prescription.
You can't treat an unscript patient exactly like you might treat a street heroin addict, cocaine addict, methamphetamine addict, or even alcoholic. Because again, they have an underlying medical issue, under medical care, that inadvertently caused this issue.
The Unscript program includes medical evaluation, medical detoxification, education, counseling, and ongoing medical supervision and coordination of outpatient care. Unscript reaches more than the individual addict. It has the ability to affect the entire community because addiction, in any form, adversely impacts society. Starting with the affected individual's family and friends, as well as their workplace and society at large, the risk of harming individuals through accidents or injuries or product liability issues where somebody's making a faulty product because they're impaired. Community Bridges is unique in that it also understands that many who abuse prescription medication move on to street drugs. Street heroin is pretty inexpensive these days and very available. And we see this commonly, and particularly in young people, where they'll turn to heroin as an alternative to if they can't get enough medication from their physician or they can't afford the medication from the physician. When I would run out of pills, I would get sick. You go through a physical withdrawal, and I was really sick one day and couldn't get pills. And a friend of mine was a heroin addict, and he had heroin, and just like that, I made the decision to try heroin. When you cross that line from being a user or abuser of substances to being addicted, your brain chemistry changes. Well, an addict has an unconscious chemical message that tells you, if I don't keep doing this drug or I don't keep using alcohol, I'm going to die.
The problem that we see with folks who become addicted in that way is that they believe that what they're doing is okay because you got it from a doctor. It's a legal prescription and it's addressed definite pain. It's not something that enters your mind, that this is gonna destroy my life, absolutely destroy my life. I just paid for it and it came in a bottle. And there's still much stigma around addiction, that it's a moral failing, it represents bad willpower or poor character. But in the 25 plus years I've been doing this, I've yet to meet a single individual who wanted to be a drug addict or an alcoholic. Not one, zero. And I had this weekend where I was able to actually see
my life the way it was, and my fear wasn't that I was going to die. My fear was that I was going to continue living like this for the rest of my life, and I couldn't imagine continuing to live like that forever.
It's a chronic progressive illness. It'll get worse. Unfortunately, compared to other illnesses, addiction affects virtually every aspect of your life. So your personal, your occupational, your health, oftentimes legal and financial as well.
Colleen got help and today lives drug-free. She's a testament that programs like Unscript work, that recovery is possible.
For a really long time, I lived in a place where I didn't think it was possible that I was ever going to live drug-free. You know, I couldn't see that other side of it. So coming from someone who has now been on the other side of it, I would just like to share with them that it's absolutely possible.
When a person is introduced to a program that can turn that around, it not only turns the use of the medication around, it turns your view of yourself around. And once you have that shift, you know that you can accomplish something, then you have some hope, you have some help, and you can move forward with your life. A lot of the folks we see are not failures. They were misdirected somewhere, and they need to just get back on track to become the successes that they were meant to be.
Community Bridges is committed to helping individuals who are struggling with unintentional addiction. To speak with a Community Bridges medical professional, contact our 24/7 Access to Care line at 877-931-9142. To learn more about Unscript, visit communitybridgesaz.org.